today I wanted to tell you how I made my entry for the Warner Brothers Fantastic Superfan contest that they held here in Canada. If you follow me on Instagram, you already know that I was lucky enough to be chosen by Warner Brothers to be Canada's Fantastic Superfan for the contest. That means that this summer I get to go to London and go around the making of Harry Potter and see The Cursed Child. I'm so excited and so grateful that Warner Brothers chose me. I can't express how happy I am. There was so many wonderful videos that were submitted for the entry that I'm so grateful that Warner Brothers chose me. Everyone did such a wonderful job. I loved watching everybody's entries. It was so much fun. I really wanted to show everybody what it took to get my entry to where it was. There was a lot of stuff crammed into my 1-minute video and I had a hard time fitting it all in. But I wanted to just take a minute and show everybody all the different stages that it took to get it to what it became. Please hit the subscribe button below. Thanks! It took me a while to decide what I wanted to make, but when I finally decided upon Harry's cupboard under the stairs, I went and dug around in my garage and found some cardboard. Then I used an X-Acto knife and I cut it out into the shape I needed. When I was done, I had a little bit left over, so I decided to make the Dursleys' fireplace. It took a lot longer than doing the staircase, but it did work in the end. It was just hard to shape together. Painted it all the different colors, and I took a dry stencil brush with a little bit of gray paint to give it the accents to make it look like it had tile. Unfortunately, I didn't do any pictures of when I made the brick wall, but I'll do another video on how to make those later. Once I was done working on my larger craft projects, I started to gather up all of my Harry Potter stuff that is spread out throughout my house. I didn't realize how large my collection was until I started to gather it into one room. As you can see from the picture, Butterbeer got kind of scared when everything got piled up in our bedroom. Once I had my full collection in my bedroom, I spent the next day taking down all my non-Harry Potter stuff and removing everything so that I had a clean slate to work with. I wanted to be able to have absolutely everything on display in the one room, and so I needed to have as much space as possible. I was lucky enough to go over to my parents' house and find that they had an old trolley that they used for work sometimes, so I was able to put that by in front of my brick wall with my Hedwig that I had got for Christmas from Build-A-Bear. The trunk that he is sitting on is also made from cardboard. I'd folded it up into the shape. It didn't work as well as I'd hoped, but it gave the illusion of a decent-sized trunk. I painted it brown and put the Hogwarts crest on it. I have it sitting by my bed as well once I go through the brick wall. I'm not sure if I have a good picture of it. As you can see from the many pictures I have, Butterbeer is always in the thick of things. He cannot turn around without him being right there helping me in all of my projects. He was so good when we did this fun little photo shoot with him wearing his robes. He was the perfect little model for his Build-A-Bear robes. They're a little bit small for him as he's much bigger than a Build-A-Bear, but it still works. During the time that I was working on my contest entry, the new Fantastic Beasts movie, The Secrets of Dumbledore, came out, and I dressed up as Newt Scamander. I was the only one at our local theater that cosplayed. I was really hoping I'd get to see some other cool cosplays at the theater, but there was nothing. But I had fun dressing up. After the movie was done, I came home and I started working on the first room that I would be using as a set in my video. Sometimes while I work, Butterbeer likes to lay across my shoulders and supervise. If he's not doing that, he's laying on Harry's little bed from the cupboard under the stairs or behind the door. He's always right there. Nose in everything. He has to help constantly, which makes it quite a bit harder than it should be. Even when I was working on the insert for this suitcase, he had to help me. The suitcase that I had just showed was from one of my other projects that I was working on, and so I couldn't cut a hole in the center of it like I needed to use to be able to go into it at the end of my video. So once again, I made another cardboard item and I painted it up and tried to make it look as similar as possible to the last suitcase that I had just used. I made some Niffler bread too while I was working on my projects. It was very tasty, but I don't feel like it turned out as well as I'd hoped. I wanted it to look more like a Niffler. They look a little bit pudgy, but they were still cute, so I put them in Jacob's suitcase to give it the feel of the bakery. The occlumency nest, I used a whole bunch of sticks and leaves from out in my yard and shaped them into a nest. Then I used paper mache to make the occlumency and the eggs, and then afterwards I painted them all. For the swooping evil, I used cardstock, fishing line, and lots of paint and tape. I worked on my bowtruckle habitat. I took a couple large branches and I cut them down on my yard and I stuck them in some cardboard so they looked like a small tree in my bedroom. I then went and made some bowtruckles themselves. I got some sticks and I painted them green after I'd shaped them into the right formations and I gave them cute little facial expressions. I didn't like how dark it was in the corner of my bedroom, so I added some fairy lights to it. This little bird I made from fabric and I sewed him up and I gave him some little tuffets of hair. The dung beetle I made out of paper mache and I painted it, and Dougal was also paper mache with lots of paint. I like him the best. Next came my nifflers. Of course, I needed lots of shiny things, so I went around through my jewelry box and found different things, and I also took a lot of cat toys. I had an old wine bottle cork, and so I put that on so it looked like he was flying on his champagne cork like in the second movie. I really enjoy doing craft projects. They're probably one of my favorite things to do, but I also had a wonderful time rediscovering some of the things in my Harry Potter collection. It's been years since I've pulled it all out and laid it out just to have a look at what I have. Usually it's up on shelves or in bookcases and it's all on display throughout my house, but some of it's hard to see because it's up kind of high. And so when I took everything down, I was able to have a closer look at it and see what I actually had. And it was lots of fun rediscovering everything all over again. Even if it was a little bit hard to get in and out of my bedroom, it was still an experience I will never forget. Once I'd finished making everything, then I went around my house and I found different items that looked similar to what they had in Harry's cupboard and the Dursleys. And I took all of the letters that I hand wrote and I stuck them with fishing wire to the ceiling so they hung down and dangled. It looked kind of neat. If you blew on them, they all moved and looked like they were floating. That point, I then had to decide how I was going to film everything that I had laid out and made because it was quite hard to get it all condensed into a 1-minute video. I spent several evenings just recording little snippets, trying to decide how long I could spend on each wall because I couldn't go too fast because it would be blurry, but if I went too slow, my minute would run out before I was done showcasing everything that I had worked on. One of my favorite things that I'd wish I'd had more time to showcase was my broomstick that I'd hung from the ceiling with fishing wire. It looked like it was floating, but I just didn't have enough time to zoom in on it and show how neat it looked. I'm trying to decide where I can hang it up like that to leave it permanently in my house because I really think it looked super cool. All of my cardboard cutouts that I had got from promotional items throughout the years was really nice having them pulled out again. Usually I keep them in my basement, and it was nice to have them back upstairs. They are just so large, they take up so much room that I really don't know where I can have them in my day-to-day house. Butterbeer tends to like to chew on the edges of them, which I don't really want him doing, so it's hard. I can't have them out and displayed in my room all the time like I used to as a kid. I hope you like my behind the scenes video of how I made my entry for Warner Brothers Canada Fantastic Superfan contest. I had lots of fun working on this and I hope you enjoy my video. I've attached my final product onto the end of this so you can see what all this hard work became. Thanks for watching!
Hey, I'm Courtney. I've been a Fantastic Superfan for 22 years. My collection is taking over my house. My cat's even named Butterbeer. Hope you enjoy my collection! Harry Potter has been a major part of my life since the first time I picked up the Philosopher's Stone at the age of 9. When the movies premiered, we were first in line, robes and all, at our local one-room theatre. After that night, it has been my dream to go to London and walk through the doors of the Great Hall and see where all the magic happened. My autograph collection.
Welcome to everyone's favorite bakery, Kowalski's!
Welcome to the inside of my suitcase. I've recreated some of my favorite moments from the movies. I hope you enjoy my creatures. Thanks for watching!